What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Next Level Teaching.
He was trying not to karate chop.
It just naturally chops.
just
Here at Next Level Teaching, we like to chop. You know what I'm saying? I'm your host, Jeremy Anderson, here with my super dope hostess with the mostest, Miss Tori Rodriguez, a.k.a. T-Rod. What's up?
What's up, Jay?
Virtual high five. Boom. And we got a super dope guest today.
I know.
Dr. Cunningham in the building.
I'm super excited. This has been like in the making, I feel like.
It has. It's been, yes. We've been working on this for a minute, so glad to be here.
Super excited to have you.
Yes.
Super excited to hear about...
let me tell you, hold on. Dr. Brittany Cunningham got the juice. I'm going to tell you right now. We about to have a good time.
Maybe it's orange juice. It might be orange juice.
There we go.
Stop. I can't.
Yes. And we had your husband on recently.
You did.
Yep.
Yes,
Tell
so
us
you're
about
saving the
husband.
best for last.
There we go.
Ma'am, know
He knows
your
what it
word.
is.
Know
He
your
knows what
word.
it
No,
Yeah.
he's good people too.
Yeah.
You know,
Good
the
stuff.
power couple's got to represent a little
That's
bit.
it.
Oh.
That's it. I love it.
for it.
I love it. How's your week been, Tori?
It's been good. It's been really good. Finding some new things that are bringing joy in my life. And
I see you picked up a side.
I did.
Side hustle,
I picked
side
up,
job.
I did. You know, teachers, we have to pick up a side hustle,
Or two, or
unfortunately,
three.
or two or three. Yes. And so I've actually started working at a bridal salon, and I've realized that it has brought me so much joy. And I have the opportunity to kind of speak life into young
Yes.
ladies. And so it's been a lot of fun. And I literally just started, and people are already putting my name out there.
Right.
Which is just kind of mind-blowing already.
I heard about one of those reviews.
Yeah.
This one person left her review was like, "Oh my God, working with Tori was amazing.
But of course.
I wouldn't have known this was her first day managing this place."
Yeah.
But I'm not surprised. I've been there. You was dope.
Yeah.
That's why you're here.
So,
You know what I'm saying?
And that's
Yeah.
the thing. It was one of those, just like how the podcast was, the podcast just kind of fell into my lap as a blessing from the Lord. It was not something I was hustling or grinding or looking for. It was just like Ryan came to me,
said
you know,
yes.
and it was the same thing with this bridal salon. It's a friend of a friend, and it's all literally the Lord is all in it. They're a
awesome.
faith-based organization. And so it has been really cool to kind of watch God work in that way.
Yeah. And what a blessing to be able to continue your ministry of uplifting others, especially during such an upheaval time.
Yes.
I mean, getting married, I remember 9 years ago, it's just a lot of highs, a lot of lows, and having someone experienced like you, experienced in working with people to navigate that journey with them, what a blessing.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, and someone the other day, I guess it was actually earlier today, actually was like, it was such a blessing to have you working with me. And I was like, no. It's
the
other way around. It
Yeah.
blessed me so much because it has helped me find some of that joy that unfortunately because of the way that this year has been for education.
Sometimes you need something fresh
Yes.
and new to just kind of,
it's helped it
Yeah.
that it's kind of helped it balance it out a little bit, and
it
so
helps to put some extra money in your pocket.
yes,
Good
it
stuff.
does,
Good
and
stuff.
so that is definitely something that I've been needing.
And it's a special
awesome.
blessing that
Yeah.
you're about to go get tomorrow. We'll tell them about that in some other podcast. So I'm excited for you. Shout out to PBIS Rewards.
Yes.
Yep. I'm going to be speaking for their PBIS conference.
Yeah.
It's actually PBIS Rewards virtual conference.
Very nice.
So
Yeah.
I'll be presenting for
Yes,
them.
I've been hearing. I'm looking at my calendar, seeing
Right.
Yes.
what's going on. What, June 21st and 22nd?
June 21st
Yes.
and 22nd.
Well, and for those of you that don't know what PBIS is, Jeremy, do you want to give them a quick little, because I know that I've worked with it before, and then my mom actually has the school that she's in right now is a PBIS school. But do you just want to give them a quick little insight to it?
Yeah, for sure. So PBIS, Positive Behavior Intervention and Support. Ryan was actually a PBIS coach at his school. He's our producer. You can't see him, but we can see him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a ghost. He's here, but he's not there for you
But
to
if
see.
you've been listening recently, which I hope you have, then
Right.
you've heard him on the podcast recently. Just
Right.
saying.
And so at PBIS, where our focus is let's highlight what they're doing, right? I remember when I was struggling in school, my teachers focused on what was wrong as opposed to what was strong.
There it is.
And I feel like that's the heart of PBIS.
Yes.
It's like, you know what, let's reward when they're doing something right. Let's put our energy on those positive things, and let's support and reward the behavior that we want to see on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And so in a sense, that's what it is. So you have some schools that's just discipline. They do something wrong, but they do something right. It's like, can you acknowledge it?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But great job. I'm proud of you. That was awesome. Let's celebrate that. We want to keep that behavior. You know what I'm saying? That's really special.
And there's a lot of great research that says that for every one critique, you need to have 10 different opportunities of positively recognizing their strengths.
Yeah.
And so if we could just keep that equation, we would really move students.
And it's the same premise you see like in corporate American organizations. It's like, if you have to challenge me on something and redirect me, you'll highlight something positive. Then you'll tell me what to work on.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like we taking some of those same ideas and putting it into schools.
Love it.
Well, and I'll just say, I was kind of looking into the company that like manages PBIS rewards, and they have a couple of different systems very similar.
And the apps and all those cool things.
And they have some that are actually meant for like the corporate world. And I think it would even be great for teachers on like for the teacher side of it,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Like what an awesome idea to implement that so that teachers are because we need to feel that as well, just as much as the kids do.
Right.
Just as much. And so they have those types of things as well.
Shoot, my wife. If I do something wrong, Ryan, she will call me out.
Yeah.
But if I do something right, I'm like, man, show your boy some love a little bit.
Is that so? Is that so?
Show me a little something.
Boy, you've been doing some right things recently, and I've been seeing it, okay?
Come on.
Let me tell you, y'all, Tracy's birthday was recently, and the boy did her up, like, so good. Had a whole, like, video for her where a bunch of us, like, sent in videos wishing her happy birthday.
It's like
and
a
then
30-minute video.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's like a movie night.
Yeah, I mean, and then got her some nice thing from the LV. Just
From the
saying.
LV.
But, you know, treated your girl right.
Yep. It only
and
makes
so-
sense. Yeah, she sacrifices so much.
Sure.
She's so selfless. And we had a health scare. I'll tell you about that later. So, yeah, I'm not taking nothing for granted.
And y'all
She's
have
gonna
had
feel that love.
some heartbreak recently.
Yeah, it's been a lot. I ain't want to.
No, but I'm just saying, like, the fact that y'all, like, as a whole family have just been through so much
it's
to
been
be able to celebrate each other and celebrate lives. Speaking of celebrating lives.
Come on. Okay. Great segue.
I was hoping we wouldn't be talking about this.
Great segue. Okay.
Speaking of celebrating
you all
lives.
would not even know, right? We're doing this podcast on a Sunday, but it's not just any Sunday.
Allegedly.
Right.
Girl, this is the day that the Lord has made you.
Right.
Yes, we are
Right.
on hour 12
We
of
got
year.
something
We won't
special
talk
for
about
you.
it.
Can you go grab it?
Oh,
we got
no,
something special
no.
for you.
Happy birthday
We just want the people to see the love that we have for you. But go ahead and it's your birthday.
It
Yeah.
is my birthday
It's
today.
her birthday, y'all.
Yeah.
Looking like she a sophomore in college.
I know, right?
I'm definitely not a sophomore in
Looking like
college.
she a
But man,
sophomore in
I'm like-
college. Yeah,
So,
you glowing.
yes.
Is it the birthday glow or you always glow?
I always glow.
Let me text your husband. See, does she always glow? Like
And
Yes.
the answer better be yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Oh,
she
for
does.
sure. If he's
Yes,
wise,
it better be
he's a
yes.
wise
He
man.
is.
will
He's
say
a keeper.
Yes.
Nice. I love it. So,
Thank you.
so you chose to be here really on your birthday, though. That was
I
special.
did. I figured, why not? I mean, you know, we have some things going on later today,
right,
but
I'm
I
sure.
figured this was a great opportunity.
Wow.
You know, I've been trying to get on for
Yeah.
the past couple of months, and for one reason or
Yeah.
another, we just haven't connected. So I was like,
Yeah.
why not?
No,
Yeah.
that's perfect. That's perfect. So we're gonna give this to you. This is just
Aw.
something to let you know that we value you, we appreciate you.
Yeah, for
Thank
spending your time
you.
with us. And
Yes.
for those of you that are listening and you're not
they're
watching on
beautiful.
YouTube,
Oh,
we have
yeah.
some beautiful balloons and some
Yes.
gorgeous flowers for our
Balloons
birthday
are
queen.
all in the way.
That is awesome.
right.
Thank
And so,
you. And they're beautiful.
Thank you so
Yes.
much for
Yes, thank
celebrating
you.
with us. Yeah,
You wanna
let's
put
set them
'em-
down
You
behind.
want to put them here, or you want to put them back in upstairs? Or?
No, let's leave them. Make
You
them,
wanna-
make them a
Part of the
statement
scenery.
piece. Yes, make it a statement
that was
piece.
brilliant, yeah.
I'm here for it.
There we go. Nice.
So, okay, so thank you for being with
Well,
us
thank
first
you.
off. I
Yes.
know that Jeremy knows you maybe a little bit better than I do. So why don't you kind of start out with telling us a little bit about your story? I know that you've been in
Okay.
education for 21 years,
Yes.
which how?
It just happened. All of a sudden,
Right.
I woke up and I'm
no,
finishing
I
year
mean, but
21.
like, how are you looking like this?
She looking like she's 21.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
she
we're just
came
so
out the
kind
womb
on my
with your
birthday.
school.
All
Came
this
out the
birthday
womb
love.
teaching. Yes, that's
Might
what
be
I'm here
good. I
for.
don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So You started, you said in middle school?
So I'm actually the child of a mom who's a retired special education teacher.
Okay.
Dad who's a business person. My mom actually owned a daycare center when we were younger.
Wow.
And she would make me work there on during summer vacations. And I told her under no certain terms I would never go into education after dealing with a bunch of 2- and 3-year-olds. Just told her.
Isn't that what we always say?
We always say that.
Right.
And she was like, oh, okay, we'll see. We'll see. And I'm a Taurus, so I'm stubborn. She was like, we'll see.
Right.
So, fast forward, graduating from college, Emory University, go to Silicon Valley with my business degree, thinking I'm going to take the finance world by storm. Volunteered at Scott Lane Elementary in Santa Clara, California.
Wow.
And somehow my mom just got into my head and said, you know what? You need to do this. You could do this.
Wow.
This is where you need to be. When we talk about passion-filled lives, this is where your passion is. Your passion is not in the corporate world.
Yeah.
And so decided that I was going to get into teaching.
Wow.
And, took a pay cut, went from like $50,000 at 23 to Lord knows how much, like 21,000,
Right.
and started teaching in Oakland, California.
So was it
She's
you
like,
were
"Ooh."
there? Right.
Yes, my parents were like, what's going on? Who are
Right.
you?
So you
just
went to
said
Silicon
Oakland,
Valley, was ready to
California. Oh my
work, and then did you start volunteering at a school?
So I
or-
volunteered, our company was doing just random volunteering. And so I said, well, I'll help kids read. And it just started the path. And, I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And
as well as my wife.
I was gonna say.
I love her. I haven't met her, but I
was
love
waiting
her.
for that
already.
pinky to come up.
Right.
But yeah, I was actually in a chapter and was just inquiring from another soror who was a principal. And I said, well, how do you get into teaching? I might do it. I'm thinking about it. She said, I have a job for you. You
Wow.
want it, it's yours.
Just like that.
Just
Wow.
like that. And I said, this
Speaking of
is
God,
a
just
message
place
from
things in
God.
your lap.
Yeah, this is a message from God. Let's go.
Wow.
And so, I owe her, the world because she, the level of patience and the level of faith and the level of belief in me was skills. And, actually having a positive Black woman as your supervisor who really saw the best in you and just pushed you.
Yeah.
I owe her a lot with regards to my career.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So tell us. So it sounds like you went there, Silicon Valley, after you finished school, ready to work. Okay, I could become teaching. It sounds like it was all rose petals, right?
Okay.
So let's talk about, because there's some educators out there that's just like, I hear a lot of joy and excitement. Was it always like that? There were some challenges, I imagine?
I always tell people, because I now, fast forward 21 years ago, I now serve as a coach. I'm a principal coach, but I work with a lot of school leadership teams and a lot of teachers. And the first couple of years in teaching or in principaling, it's just a continual series of lessons and butt kickings that just teach you about yourself in ways you will have never known. Right. So yes, I can look at it 21 years later and say, this was a great experience. And, I'm amazed, as a first year teacher, you just want to apologize to all your students and just say, you know what, I didn't know.
Right.
I'm so sorry.
I didn't know how to duck yet. I didn't know what an effective lesson was.
Yeah.
I was giving you the best that I had, but I just didn't know.
Guinea pigs.
And so for them to, not only Facebook follow, but just say, you really kind of helped change the trajectory and to see the outcomes of these now 35-year-olds, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of hard work, lots of hours, lots of crying, lots of talking to my friends going, why did I do this? But
you just let a bunch of educators know that you get them.
It's okay.
Completely and totally.
What in the world did I sign up for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm that teacher that, they call them waiver teachers that, you just jump from career and I think for those people who, I am a huge believer in educational programs, and I do think that they are hugely valuable. But there's also some teachers that just, it's a purpose-driven life, and that was what you were meant to do.
Yeah.
And so those people that are looking to transition into teaching, you can do it. I am a living example. It takes a lot of work, a lot of prayer, but you can do it.
Yeah.
And you can, really build a worthwhile career.
So can we and I want to get into how you you started off in the middle school, right?
Yes, I did. I started at Cole Visual and Performing Arts Magnet. It was a 4-8 school, and I taught 7th and 8th grade mathematics and science.
Wow.
Yes.
Those are my people.
Yes. And then cost of living was killing me. I was moving. If you lived in the Bay Area, the rent values are just astronomical, and $23,000 is just not going to cut it. So I eventually transitioned to Atlanta, worked in North Fulton at River Trail Middle School. Came to DeKalb County, worked at Sequoia Middle School, and Sequoia Middle School was the next major platform. So I mostly have done middle school, but I also have some high school experience as well.
And so how long had you been teaching before you moved into becoming your principal?
So I was a teacher for 7 total years.
Okay.
So when I came to Sequoia Middle School, it's in DeKalb County, off of Buford Highway, majority Hispanic, very high immigrant population. Awesome community. I started as a teacher, but it was recognized back in the days of adequate yearly progress, or AYP.
Yep.
It was recognized as a needs improvement school. Years of just not meeting AYP.
Yep.
And so after 2 years, they actually called us into the media center and said, all of your jobs, all right, you're going to have to apply for your jobs. We are reconstituting the school. We're going to stick with the principal, but everybody else, you
scary.
no longer have, you have a job. It may not be at this school, though. I saw it as an opportunity. What do I have to lose?
Right.
People have been whispering in my ear, I think you can do this. I think you could be a leader. And I was like, nah. And then I just said, what do I have to lose? If I, who else could do this?
Right.
And so I applied and became an assistant principal there. Was an assistant principal at Sequoia Middle School for 3 years. And then another major pivotal person in my life, Trenton Arnold, who was the principal at Sequoia then, left to pursue another opportunity, and then people started whispering, you can do this, do it. And I was like, no, principal, this is crazy. Only crazy people do this.
Right.
I realized I'm really crazy.
Right.
We say that here.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead and tell them.
You got to be called, but you got to be a little crazy.
I say you have to be crazy and a little bit narcissistic to be a principal.
Oh.
Because you've got to think, you really enter that job thinking, I can move this school.
Come on.
Me with the support of everybody else. I can lead a team of 100 people and 1,000 kids and all of these other community members, and me leading them, we can move mountains. You have to be slightly narcissistic and a bit crazy.
Yeah.
But it can be done.
Yeah.
It can be done.
And I'm sure you heard what I heard, Tori, when she was just like, people kept pushing you.
Yes, I've always been pushed.
And so think about our kids.
Yes.
Think about the students, right, that's in the classroom.
Yeah.
That just need to be pushed.
Yeah.
I have a few friends of mine, their story is, I had one teacher that changed my life. And I'm like, that sounds amazing. But for me, my third try for the 9th grade,
You had a whole team of them.
I was a whole team. And so I connected with that when you said it was just a lot of people were pushing you, saying you can do this.
Yeah.
I had a lot. I just want to kind of bring that segue.
Yes.
Because we probably have some teachers listening, and with 30, 40 countries we're in now, they're all over.
Praise God.
So we got a great platform, but I'm sure they're hearing two things. Some of them are hearing the importance of supporting others.
Yes.
But some of them are hearing the importance of supporting those kids.
My parents were the first in their families to go to college and graduate. And ever since those two people graduated, nearly everybody else in my family graduated from college, and we have 2 doctorates.
Wow.
So it's just, I believe in the power of education transforming not just lives, generations.
Yeah.
My
Break every
generation,
That's it.
it was an expectation because 2 people had people pushing them into pursuing something that they never thought was possible. And once they realized that the impossible was possible, everybody else behind them knew not only was it possible, but you better.
Yeah.
You better do it.
Yeah.
And so I've always felt, I always see my mom and my dad in my students. And I need to be that person. I've got one chance. I've got to be that person that relentlessly pushes them to greatness, whatever greatness looks like. And I think it's so important even now in COVID. Because we have lost kids due to the virtual environment and due to so much loss that they've faced in their lives personally. And we've lost kids. And I think now more than ever, we've got to remember that kids have one childhood. They got adulthood forever, hopefully. But they got one childhood to really absorb and grasp and get all they can to be successful citizens. And we owe it to them to just keep pushing and breathing life into them.
Yeah.
Because you just never know who's going to be that Barack Obama. You just never know who's going to be that person in that building. I mean, I teach, I coach people at Washington High School in Atlanta Public Schools, and the legacy of all that, of who that school has produced from Martin Luther King Jr. on forward is just amazing. Somebody had to breathe life into those kids.
Right.
Yeah.
For them to believe.
Please, God, let it be the teachers.
Right.
Please, God, let it be the principals.
Right.
Let it be let it. We need to be part of that. We don't need to push them away.
Yeah, so let's talk about that, because every educator out here wants to breathe life into
Yes,
them. What
I know.
advice would you give to those who are just tired?
I know.
Who are like, I hear you, Doc.
I know.
I'm so inspired, but I feel like empty. Like, what advice? What did you do? Like, when maybe it was year 2 or 3, maybe it was the first year when you was calling your girlfriends like, I don't know what I'm doing, and you was tired and depressed, because people can relate to that.
Yeah.
What got you through?
I mean, first of all, it's believing in a power higher than you and believing that
Absolutely.
you were put on this earth to do greatness.
Yeah.
It starts with that. It starts with, I always believe, I want people to find their purpose. I want them to find their passion.
Yeah.
Because if you're passionate about something, then you're less likely to allow tiredness to hold you back from pursuing your greatness. A principal that I worked with said, you need to find the job that you would do for free. What would you do for free?
So you're
And
saying
whatever
that's
that is,
separate
do
from
it.
teaching, or is that something
Anything.
within the educational
whether
space?
it's in the educational space, whether, because I had to transition from teaching to principal to being a principal coach. Whatever's in find that. Because if not, burnout, you just become more susceptible to those factors that just pull on us.
Yeah.
And it's also, self-care used to not be a thing, but it's got to be a thing. I think, the old notion of education where you just, and this is coming from someone who used to be a principal, where you used to work 14-hour days and then, literally almost sleep in your office to do it all again. You can't do that. That is not sustainable for the long haul.
No.
You've got to figure out what fills your bucket. I mean, you were talking about that the work that you're doing at the bridal salon really fills that bucket. What fills that bucket in addition to the work that you're doing with the students?
Yeah.
Find that and fill your bucket to over capacity.
Yeah.
Because the more that you can, so whether it is dancing, whether it is, that's my other. I don't
She hitting all the, she just speaking right to me. Like, just keep going.
No matter what it is, just
going.
find what will sustain your energy and go. Also, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay. Teachers, we tend to be silo thinkers. We don't tend to collaborate, especially when things aren't going well. Don't do that. It's okay to make mistakes.
Yeah.
It's okay to say, what, that lesson was horrible.
Yeah.
Or I should have
okay to
done
ask
this
for
differently.
help.
Yes, please.
Like, I know that I'm really bad, and my co-teacher was just kind of getting on to me about this past week. Because I'm one that, if I say I'm going to do it, even if it kills me, I'm going to do it.
Yes.
And I'm going to do it on my own because
Yes.
I said I would do it on my own. But if I'm over here struggling, just ask for help.
Why? Why do we have to be superwomen?
Yeah. Why? Like, seriously.
Why do we have to do that?
We can ask for help.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And honestly, I feel like it ends up hurting my curriculum team even more if I don't ask for help. And so we really do have to learn that it is okay. We do not have to. And I think it's because we have this mentality that we feel like we wear so many hats and we have to be superwoman to everyone else.
And meanwhile, we're falling apart.
Yes. And especially our coworkers, they're feeling it too.
Oh, yeah.
Especially right now, like we are feeling it with each other. And so why not be there to support each other? And when someone's feeling good and when someone's feeling strong, let them bear a little bit of that load and don't feel guilty for it.
Yeah.
Because we all pick up someone else's slack somewhere else.
And how many times is it nice just to know that someone else is having a similar experience.
Yeah.
You know, this is hard, and somebody else is also feeling it the same way.
Yeah.
It sometimes is reassuring to say, okay, we can get out of this hole together and
19
thrive
days.
together.
Not that I'm counting or anything.
Yeah. I think we're all counting.
Yeah, we real around here, right?
and I will-
and that's okay to count.
Yes.
That's almost like me saying, like, okay, it's like about me and my wife are going away for vacations. Like, I love my kids. I'm just looking forward to stepping away from my beautiful children
Yeah.
to have a minute to breathe, and that's okay.
Well, and I'll be very honest. I'm normally not the countdown kind of gal. Usually, I'm not the one.
Sure.
At least for school, for vacations and stuff like that. Absolutely, I got the app that counts that counts down for
the
you.
app?
Like, oh yeah, it counts down to like the second.
Nice.
Oh yeah, the math teacher in me loves that, of course.
Right.
But this is probably one of the first years that I've actually counted down, and I think it is okay because I think some of us just need that reminder
Yes.
that with this year in particular, the light is at the end of the tunnel. And for those of you that are not 19 days away, especially those of you up north, I'm really sorry, but your 19 days is coming. It's coming.
And you probably started after Labor Day, so
Yeah.
it just shifts. We're
Right.
just-
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
No, that's needed.
Yeah,
And I
very true.
wanted you to touch on that because there are some who are tired and some
Yes.
who are burnt out.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to share something, and I've shared this maybe 10 episodes before, but it's advice that my mental health coach gave me. He said, Jeremy, write down a list of, I think he said 3 things that gives you joy,
Yes.
peace, and happiness.
Yeah.
That does not involve anybody else. And I think he said try to make a list of 5 things, but he said do 3 of those
love
per
that.
week. And I was like, man. So I started writing stuff down, but I was like, no, that has to do with my wife or my kids. He was like, just you.
Yeah.
And just write those things down and then make it a habit to do those things. And he was like, you will find that's going to give you more peace. It's going to give you more joy. It's going to feel something within you. So when you're doing the hustle and bustle of everyday work,
Yeah.
you know, saying you're in a better place because you're taking some time for you.
Yeah.
And so I imagine, Tori, those days when we've called and we have our own group chat,
Yep.
and you're like, hey, guys, pray for me. I'm tired. I'm stressed. Like, it's frustrating. I cried today. Like, it's heavy on me. And she knows the power of prayer, so
Yep.
she reaches out. But I imagine those are probably some times when you haven't been able to take
Yep.
that normal time that you need for yourself.
Yep.
And so I imagine that's
Yeah.
something.
You're right. You know, you just reminded me of a couple of things. Number one, that's one of the things that during the COVID-related reflections, the attitude of gratitude. Every day I need to wake up and say, what am I thankful for? When I go to bed, what am I
powerful.
thankful for? The more that we can,
Focus.
focus on the gratitude, even during the challenges and the pushes, and this has definitely been a year of pushing and growth and challenges. What are we still grateful though? How do we change that from a negative to a positive? I think it's powerful.
And it takes serious
yes.
mental
Mental.
maturity. Because when I was reading this book one time, and you all may have read it, but one of the guys that wrote one of the chapters, his name is James, and he was like, "Look, count it all joy,
Yes.
whether you go through tests or trials or persecution or all of that,
Yeah.
because it produces perseverance,
Yes.
so that you're not lacking anything."
Yep.
That's what the trickiest part
Anything.
is grit,
Count
perseverance,
it
and grit.
all
Yes.
joy
All.
though. And that's one of my favorites right there, to be honest with you.
Right.
Because-
Sometimes I catch an attitude with it.
Yes.
Because I'm like, how
do I find joy in
How am I
this?
supposed to be excited by? Yes, this is a challenge.
Yes.
But go ahead.
But it really is like, I think that sometimes in the moment it's hard to find the joy.
Sure.
But even if we can the next day find the joy
Yeah.
in the previous day, then we're always looking back to the previous day because there's always something.
Yes.
You woke up. You woke up.
And
That's joy.
Yeah. And I actually tell my principals as I coach with them. I ask the new principals because they just bless their hearts. They just get it. It's just coming to them fast and furious. And I say,
I cannot
I need
imagine
you to
being a new principal
spend
this year.
5 minutes, and I need you to write down the good moments that
Come on,
occur.
that's so good.
Because when all hell is breaking loose,
Yeah.
and you just don't know if Channel 5 News is going to be at your school the next day, I need you to pull out this book
Yes.
And remember the moments in which you felt we accomplished something, or you had a great day, or a student came and gave you this word, or an adult said, keep going. Write those down, because it's those dark, when you're in the valley, you need those kinds of words to be able to pull them out. And at that time, you're not going to be in the headspace to think that way. That's why you need to write it down.
And
it's powerful.
If you're an educator out there, no matter what level, you need to get one of these. You need to either make it a journal. I have a binder.
Yes.
It originally started out as just like a file folder. My mom was the one, so my mom's an educator as well. And she taught me from the beginning to get a file folder. And every time you get a note from a student, every time you get a picture drawn from a student, something like that,
I keep them.
You put it in there. I have a folder on in my email, like an actual, like, you know, I have like my parent emails, and I have my like all my extracurricular, and then I have one that's called You Rock.
That's awesome.
And it's where I save all of my things, even if it's like a thank you so much for, you know, helping my child with blah, blah, blah today. Or like I had a student that reached out that I had a couple of years ago, and she dances, and I dance and am a dance teacher. And she was like, hey, Miss Rod, hope you're doing well. Don't know if you remember me. That one breaks me when they say that. I'm like, yes, I remember you, Savannah. But my dance recital is blah, 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 like on these days. Would you be willing to come? Like, I put that in the You Rock folder, because that's, if a student, if a student reaches out like that, like, wow. And so if you don't have one of those and you're a teacher, you got to get one.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like everyone
should have one.
No matter what profession you're in, honestly. Like those little sticky notes that you get from, you know, your boss when they come in for just like a quick observation, but they notice you doing something real good. Sometimes you need that.
My man David said it. He said, Jeremy, sometimes you got to encourage yourself.
You have to.
While you're looking for others to encourage you, you got to be able to look within and say, you know what, I rock. Today was a crappy day, but it's going to get better. It's going to work out. And I think that mindset, like the discipline of that mindset, crosses over careers. Like Tori, you know, we own a trucking company, Brittany, right? And one of our 18-wheeler trucks got totaled, and I had to practice it. I had to say, you know what? Let me talk about how grateful I am at this situation. You know what I'm saying? $60,000, $70,000 vehicle just got totaled, but my driver walked away.
Nobody else was hurt.
He can call his son and say, son, I'm all right. He's still in his grandkids' life. Nobody else got hurt. It happened in Atlanta on 400 in the morning. And when I saw the cameras, all the other vehicles passed right by. It was a miracle. So I'm like, even though some people say, oh, no, I just, you know, wrecked one of my trucks, my 18-wheelers, and what's going to happen with the company? No. Let me focus on the positive. Because it can always be worse. And that's a mental discipline. It's not always easy. But for me, I deal with so much, I can easily become overwhelmed.
It's and that's the thing.
So many have.
My mom always says, have you prayed about it more than you've talked about it?
I'm convicted. Hold on, I wasn't ready for that.
That was a message for today.
I wasn't ready for that one.
That's the one that mom always says, and that one always gets me as well, because I'm the one that always talks about it more than I pray about it, so that's why she always says it. And then the other one sometimes, because my mom and I call each other pretty much every day on the way home from work, because she's usually out of school by the time I'm leaving, and so she's going on her walk.
Awesome.
We have a beautiful relationship. And there are some days, because she teaches middle school as well, where, and she's connections, she's an electives class, and right now,
a whole other world.
I mean, like, some of them just don't want to do. And this one's awful to say. It's a joke, but it is just a reminder of, like, I'm not in an orange jumpsuit today. I didn't murder anyone today. That's a success. And sometimes that's all I can say. Like, I did not go off on a child today because they were driving me nuts. Teachers, you know, it's that full moon, Friday the 13th.
The red blood moon was the one which really, I just had to walk away. Like, I just went in my car.
I mean, we have those days. We all do. And it is sometimes you just have a day where you're like, I may have cried. But I did not lose my job today.
Right.
It's true.
And,
Right.
and unfortunately,
Yep.
like you have to, we work with kids, y'all.
Man,
If we
I
work with
just-
kids, it
just
is
hearing
what
y'all-
it is.
And when you get into the assistant principal and principalship, it's the adults.
Oh, it's the adults
Right.
for us
Ooh,
too.
the
It's
kids
okay.
the kids are blessings known to God.
It's the adults for us
yeah,
too
those
sometimes.
adults. Ooh.
It's like it's different devils at different levels.
Yes.
Ooh, yeah, that brain
Different
is fully
things you
developed
gotta-
and fully ready.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to try you and test you. Yeah. So tell us, how did you go from? Tell us about that. Your transition from being middle school teacher, high school teacher, then assistant principal for 3 years,
Yes.
and then become principal to now principal's coach.
Yes, well,
There's
yeah.
levels to it. Yeah.
So I was a middle school principal for 4 years, and something just said. I mean, I think it was partially my mom. She just has a way of getting in my brain. She's always said, Brittany, you would love high school. And I was like, girl, you crazy. You are crazy. I am K8. And we've also learned that's a whole nother podcast.
Right.
We are not K3. We were 4-8.
Okay.
Yes.
That's a whole
No.
nother podcast. K3 is a whole nother podcast.
No.
My hats go off to everyone. But I wanted to see education in different. I'm fascinated by people and watching people operate and communicate and just function. And so I just wanted to see learning differently. So I was crazy enough to go, you know what? I want to be a high school principal. So I ended up becoming principal of Druid Hills High School, also in DeKalb County.
Yep.
Did that for 4 years. And then I said, I kind of want to see a whole new lens. And so I actually, at the time, was the director of testing and assessment in Atlanta Public Schools. So that was the second time my parents had a heart attack. The first
Wow.
one was when I told them I was going into teaching. The second one was they were like, of all of the jobs in Metro Atlanta,
Right.
you would pick Atlanta
Testing.
Public Schools testing director.
Yeah.
Brittany, are you trying to
Wow.
kill us?
Wow.
Yep.
I mean, but it ended up being a really great experience. I worked with some wonderful people, learned a lot about myself and that kind of side of the brain that's very detail oriented, very analytical.
Yes.
And then I said, you know what? I miss the schoolhouse. I got into teaching to work with children.
Yep.
And while I don't have it's great to be in a supportive role at the district level. I really just wanted to get back in the schools. I didn't necessarily want to do bus duty. Didn't want to go to the state football championship, but I wanted to feel what it feels like to just have movement in the hallways.
Yeah.
The buzz of the hallways. The synapse of a great lesson when you just sit down and all
Light
is great in the world
bulb.
because you're just like, this is education at its best.
Yeah.
And so, the personal coach position occurred, and I said, well, why not? And jumped in, and it's truly been such a great experience. I think that this past 2 years I've learned more about myself as a leader.
Wow. Come on.
Than I
Yeah.
probably have in any other position because I've been forced in this job to stop and listen. And to stop and reflect. And being able to stop and listen and ask questions to other people has forced me to stop and ask questions
Wow.
and hold myself accountable.
Wow.
And so I think that's what's led to, to some great growth.
So I want to know
Wow.
what are some of the things that you really have stopped and reflected on. I'll tell you, I have a tiny little glimpse, I think, of some of the reflection that you've done. I have a student teacher this year. And so
Yes.
it's that same
thing.
growing someone, managing someone, helping them succeed, not giving up on them.
Yes.
But I want to know, what are some of the things that you have really taken away from this new season of life?
First, active listening. I thought I was a good listener. But, as humans, and especially in leadership roles, you tend to be the know-it-all.
Yeah.
I told you we were narcissistic. So you tend to think you know all the answers. And so you're listening to make your next point.
Yes.
You're not always listening to receive what the person is saying, to get a fuller understanding of the context of the situation and how to move with all of the parts once you've understood all of the parts. And so the art of listening has been something I've realized. The art of questioning.
Yes.
How do you question in a way that pushes people in directions they would not have imagined?
Yeah.
There is an art and a science to that.
Yeah.
And sometimes we ask questions because we know the answers. But I've learned to ask questions not knowing what the answer is
Right.
going to be.
Right.
Or with the knowledge base that I'm not going to give you the answer.
Right.
We're going to work on the
That
answer
probing.
together.
Yes.
And I was like, had I known this as a principal, I probably would have done some things differently when I was working with students, when I was
classroom.
working with teachers. Instead of imparting my wisdom to the world, I probably would have been a little more thoughtful in kind of guiding, using that questioning
Facilitating
and
discovery.
listening to kind of discover how to push them in the direction, not that I want them to go, but is in the best interest for them and the students.
Wow.
And so those are kind of the things. And of course, I go back to, how would I have done this? There are different aspects of teaching and learning that now, from the perspective that I'm in now, I'm like, oh my gosh, I would have done this so much differently.
Right,
Like
right.
truly being an instructional leader. Like,
Yeah.
principal
Right.
as an instructor, there are books about that.
Yeah.
But I realized that there were avenues where I could have done more. And knowing what I know now, I'm like, okay, I've learned from the principles that I'm now working with.
Yeah.
Right.
As to what does instructional leadership truly look like? What does conversations about equity in a city where gentrification is running rampant? What does equity in the schools look like?
Yeah.
And how are our school buildings supporting equity and also providing a systemic roadblock to equity, even when all
the
the
same
players
time.
are black?
Whew.
I mean,
that,
just-
okay, that,
Wow,
that
that's
just
another
went,
podcast.
That just went over a whole bunch of people's heads. Yeah, that's heavy.
Yeah, I mean, it's
That's
just
a part
fascinating.
2 for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to come back. Sorry.
That's
I would love to.
We'll schedule it when it's not your birthday or Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
or any
okay,
other
great.
day.
Yeah, anytime.
that's heavy. So you're in APS now?
Yes.
So how many principals are you coaching?
I coach,
does that look like?
officially on the record, I coach 3. I work in the high school sphere, so which has been great. That's another thing, is the depth. I want to be meaningful instead of the kitchen sink.
Oh.
I want to spend my time really immersed, being meaningful, making that impact, because we're going deep about things. And by having fewer schools to really kind of
Yeah.
work with,
Yep.
I'm
Yeah,
able
absolutely.
to really
That's good.
figure out how to manage.
love it.
So mostly 3 schools. I work within the Office of High Schools under Dr. Dan Sims, who is another awesome leader. Yes, and another great person to add to the podcast. I'm going to put him on the spot. But yeah, I also provide support through that as well. So 3 officially. I've worked with about 4 or 5 on the record over the past 2 years, and then just unofficially,
Right.
a lot of different people. I love plucking teacher leaders.
Right.
And going, let's talk about what you're doing, what's your body of work, and how can I help you be more impactful, and how can I help you? I can help build capacity for you, because somebody else has got to, I'm retiring in 10 years. So who's going to be ready to really lead our next generation of kids?
I love it. I love it. That's heavy.
All right, so
That's rich.
we're going to have to wrap it up here soon, I think. I know.
I know, right?
Okay.
We are definitely going to have
Right.
part 2. I want to ask, because of a lot of the things that I've heard you talking about, and kind of the places that you've been level-wise within a couple of different counties, if the current administration were to come and ask you, what's one thing that you would change in the educational system? What do you think that would be?
Oof, that's a heavy
Yeah.
question.
I know.
Who is it, 5 o'clock somewhere?
Yeah, that's a big
Yeah.
question.
Like if they came and
one
said,
thing.
hey, just give us one thing and it's done.
The one thing is we've got to, as a nation, truly address the systematic inequities that continue to plague our country.
Yeah.
And we need to stop putting Band-Aid solutions, because blaming the teachers or saying, well, y'all need to do this because y'all work with the kids or the schools, is a Band-Aid solution. Really, if we can identify, address, and eradicate those barriers that prevent people from having the access and exposure in all aspects of our society. If we could just eliminate those, or at least have a real conversation that those exist.
Right.
Yeah.
They have been set up.
That right there is a starting point.
We could actually we could reach those children a lot quicker pace. And really breathe life into those children, because the mindsets that are created over generations of poverty and oppression and inequitable treatment, it's so hard to break those mindsets.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you want to teach them.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
You got to get them to a point where they're able to receive before you can really teach. And gosh, the monopoly, the young lady that talked about racism as the monopoly game, where
yes, I remember that.
White people went 200 went stop go, pass go 200 times before before black people could even step foot, or other vulnerable populations could even step foot on the game board.
Yep.
And then different properties, they started putting hotels in different properties, so that and instructing laws in which would keep you from being able to access property.
Yeah.
So there's another 50 rounds that go, and so all of a sudden now you're saying, okay, well, you're free.
Right.
Yeah.
Now go. And you're just like, wait, what? So
Right.
yeah, that would be the one thing. If we could do that, we could really get this. We could really achieve some missions that our school districts want to set.
I love it.
Have you, as you were saying all of this, I totally thought of this documentary that I watched on Netflix earlier this summer. Have you seen Teach Them All?
No, I've been wanting to.
Okay, I don't think it's on Netflix any longer, but it's got to be somewhere. I don't know where it is. I watched it, and it is so good because it talks about a lot of those roadblocks.
Yeah.
And it talks about, it talks about like how the roadblocks continue to build.
Yes.
The further we go into things. So we start to talk about language.
Oh, that's a whole nother story.
And it's not on Netflix anymore?
I don't think so. I
Okay.
looked for it recently. I was talking to an administrator recently about growth and things that our administration could be doing to help educate themselves. And so I made like a big long list of all the things that I've been that are either on my to-do list to either read or watch or whatnot, or things that I have kind of done. And I was like, this is one that I think administration needs to watch. But it's called Teach Them All. And it is so good because it talks about the different layers of, we talk about, people being undocumented.
Yes. Oh gosh.
And how that's another layer of things
that's a whole another podcast.
And it's just all of the different things that our students are going through that are not allowing them to get the education that they truly deserve.
It's heavy. If I could change one thing, I would put a counselor, a social worker in every single class.
Yeah.
Because the mental trauma that a lot of these kids are dealing with, the dysfunction at home, it's just like you take them from their homes and their environments and you put them in the classroom, and they're going to have time.
Switch.
Yeah, I would have a hard time understanding the Pythagorean theory. You know what I'm saying? And I can imagine like what they have going on inside their world.
Yeah.
And so those are some things I think that's really probably what moved us right to creating our curriculum, our next level students curriculum.
I love it.
Which is something that could connect with their hearts. Math, science, English, history, all that's needed. But what about what's going on the inside?
And we knew that. And then COVID hit. And then it was just like
Magnified.
it just blew up the whole space.
Yep.
I so agree. I so agree. And that we just need all sorts of true wraparound services, really meaningful, intentionally based on the needs of the school and the students in the community. I can't
And
agree
teachers
more.
can't handle it all.
Nor should they.
Right.
Nor
should not be expected to carry it all.
Some would argue we actually, the adults in the building actually need our own counselor. And the stories that I get as a principal
all the time.
You counselor, social work. You could argue that the realm of teachers actually and the different support staff that make up a school actually could benefit from their own true meaningful, not the employee assistance program, but really having a space and a space and someone skilled to be able to deliver.
There's
that.
a show, I don't know, it's on Showtime called Billions.
Yes.
Yes. And you know, I'm thinking of Wendy.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like Wendy was like their performance coach. So,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
Billions is about all these hedge fund, $1 billion, you know what I'm saying, these guys
good.
working the stock market. But they have a woman, Wendy, she had a really nice office, and her responsibility is to bring out the best in them, see what's going on in their personal world. And you have that in corporate America, you have that in other industries, but we
So
need
why
that
do we not have
in
it?
schools, right?
Right.
But that's a whole nother.
Ooh, that's
but
a
until
whole
then-
nother day.
But until then, that's what this podcast is here for.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yeah.
We literally, like Tori drives across town every week. You know what I'm saying? We've got the whole lights, we got the whole production. This is just something that we're
Yeah.
doing to add value, to help move that needle, to help push these teachers towards that next
Yes.
level.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful you took that job in Silicon Valley and your organization said, hey, you want to volunteer at this school?
Yeah, go right
And
ahead.
answer the
Little
call.
did they know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Little
Here
did
we
they
are
know.
years later. All right, you ready for rapid fire?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
So
Let's
the
go.
floor opens up here,
Ooh,
right?
I see
And
the- I
if you-
see
and
the
if-
pit.
and
I
if
see
you-
the lava
If you
pit.
don't get it right,
Oh, Lord. Let me
Good
stretch.
luck.
Let me do some stretches.
Let's go.
I'm a year older now, so.
here we go. 60 seconds.
All right.
Hold on. Let me put it up. Sorry.
No, you good, Jay.
Okay, now I'm ready. You ready?
Yep.
You ready?
No.
Okay, then let's go. Starting now.
Do you snore?
So that's debatable. In my mind, I don't
Pause.
snore.
That's hilarious, right?
But allegedly,
Allegedly.
someone says every now and then I breathe harshly. I think it's due to allergies and asthma.
Okay, we're
I'm
going
just
to
gonna
do
leave
that.
that there.
Pollen count, Georgia be high. All right, we'll resume.
You know it.
Polka dots or stripes?
Guilty.
Guilty. Right,
Polka dots for those of you that can't see.
right.
Favorite city in the U.S.?
Oh, that's so hard. Oh. Can I do two? So Las Vegas is my hometown, but the Bay Area is my heart.
Okay,
right.
there we go.
How long does it take you to get ready?
Actually, I'm pretty low maintenance. Probably about 30. Well, pre-COVID, yeah, during COVID, it was 15. But if I have to go to work, about 30.
Okay.
30, 45.
First celebrity crush?
I mean, it's got to be Denzel.
Oh,
Okay,
good
there we
choice.
go.
Gotta
Yeah.
be.
What's your favorite car?
I like my current car, Lexus.
There
All
we
right.
go. That's time.
That's it.
the
Okay.
time.
Oh.
You made it.
You
You
did
I'm
it.
got
now
through.
sweating a little bit. You know, that whole rapid fire thing makes me nervous.
Yeah.
It feels like
Anxious.
fire.
Right.
Ooh, I got
Feels
hot all
like
of a
fire
sudden.
around here.
Man, thank you.
No, thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank
I've had
you
fun.
for
Y'all are
answering the
awesome.
call that was on your life.
Yes, everything my husband said was true.
Okay,
Oh,
what'd he say?
what-
Well,
did
he
say?
said it was going to be a great, meaningful
Oh, yeah,
conversation.
yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
And that y'all
Yeah.
would be awesome and,
Yeah.
you know.
Good. Tell him we said what's up.
Yes, I
Yes.
will.
Yeah.
You
We'll
might, you'll have to
have both
invite
of
us
y'all
both
back.
because that would be a whole little comedy show.
That
I didn't
actually would
think
be
about that.
I'm
really.
just, you know, I mean,
We
you're
gonna
going
have
to
to
just be
slay
a
the whole
regular
hour.
before you
Yeah,
know it. I'm just
we'll
going to be
definitely
here.
have-
That's it. We down for that too. And
Yeah.
we're gonna do dinner.
Yes.
I talked to my wife. We're gonna set that up.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I talked to my husband.
Come on, name it and claim it, Tori.
Let's do it, girl. Let's go.
If you're watching this, what's the age? What's the age you're looking between?
I'm actually good to go a little bit younger than myself. So
Okay.
I'm good with like 27 to like 41.
Okay. Certain height.
You know, whoever loves the Lord.
There we go.
Praise God.
That's number one.
There we go.
Must
To
love
whom
the
all blessings
Lord.
flow.
Come on, you gotta have some good credit. At least 700 now. We want to make sure you're responsible.
For real, my credit's been good these days, so I don't need you messing up my credit. I work real hard for that.
I'm working on it. That's the budget was a COVID.
I'm working, like, I work real hard for that.
Yep.
Yeah, loves the Lord is fun. I don't need me someone vanilla and like fuddy-duddy. Like, I need someone that's fun.
No, that's a whole
Right.
other conversation. We'll talk.
Right. Does he have to cook or no? That's a bonus.
I don't.
Yeah, that's extra
I
credit.
just need someone that's kind.
There we go.
Yeah, that's a great start.
Yeah, I need someone that's kind.
If you're out there,
Maybe a little
send
dark
Ryan a
chocolate,
DM.
just saying.
Good people.
we'll make sure you fit the bill. Then we'll present you. Yes. Man, thank you so
Always
much,
Yeah,
Britt. This
thank
has
you
been
so
great.
much. This
Thank
has been a great conversation.
Yes.
I am excited for part 2 because we're definitely going to have one.
Lovely.
You have so much knowledge to impart. Yeah, really like made me think about some things about
thank you.
questioning. My mentor was really big into questioning, and that was
Yeah.
something I wanted to learn more about. And so you've made me
That's good.
like open my mind back up to it
Yeah.
again and be like, I need to get
Yes.
back into that a little bit.
should.
And all you educators that's tired, you're listening to this, you're frustrated, you're burnt out, maybe you were in tears, you wanted to hear this or
Ooh,
watch
yes.
this to get that pick me up. Tori's been going through it, right? Britt has shared it. Like, this is a part of it, but we're here to say you can do it.
You got
Yeah,
it. You got this.
it. You made
Yep.
it
You
through
got
another
this.
day.
That's it.
So thank you guys so much for listening. We hope that you give this
Yes.
5
Come
stars.
on, leave us a review.
I got 5 on it.
There we go. There we go.
Oakland.
I love it. I love it.
All right, guys, we'll see you next time.
Peace.